Welcome everybody to episode 37 of the Unwrapped Leader, where we get raw, real, and relevant in the new network marketing so you can become a gifted leader in your business. And today's topic is the final of our series of things that matter. Matter being, I believe we've done faith, we've done future, we've done finances, we've done fitness, and I believe today we're doing family and friends. And so we are really excited about that. But before we get started, I'm Dracy Dewar, and I am actually down in New Zealand right now, and I'm doing this fabulous episode with my partner in crime,
Teisha Dorianna from Canada.
Yay! But yes, talking about things that fiercely matter. It's been a great series. Hopefully, if you haven't caught up on the rest of them, please check them out. But today on family, and how ironic. I am right now, as I am traveling in the South Island of New Zealand with my partner and his mom and dad, his family. And it's been absolutely lovely because we actually haven't seen them in 3 years. And it has been an interesting past 3 years. As we all know, we've gone through lockdown and all kinds of other things, haven't been able to travel like we normally do. So this year has been a year I got to see my dad come visit. My mom has come visit. And now we're here in New Zealand doing our visit with some family. And I have to say, when it comes to doing what we do, I know a lot of us do this business to enrich our lives with our families. And so we're quite excited to do this episode with you, but let's get started. Was there one other thing I needed to say, Teisha? Was there something else? I'm a little bit off track because I couldn't print my notes.
I'll get into it. But what we want to share is that we've had a giveaway running for a week on, you could actually win a gold ribbon package for our social media MVP program. It includes a personal one-on-one coaching session with both Dracy and myself, and we will be announcing the winner for that tomorrow. So if you're seeing this right now and you have not entered yet, it's on our Facebook, it's on our Instagram. Make sure you go find the post and follow the instructions on how you can get entered. Tag your business building friends and get onto the giveaway. That's going to be announced tomorrow. So we're pretty excited to choose a winner for that. So I'm going to start us off why friends are important to have in your network marketing business, and just what having those friendships really bring, and how, as Dracy said, really enriches our lives, not just in business, but in real life too. Some of the people that you meet coming into a network marketing business, you don't realize, or could be some of your closest or even best friends today. You meet so many people in this industry. You meet people when you come into your business and you're introduced to that community of the people who are already doing the same thing as you, the people who are stepping up and leading. And, those are the people that inspire you and motivate you. And what you start to do is attract like-minded people into your life, not only in terms of people that are your customers, people that are just watching you and loving what you're doing, but also the people who have that same goal as you, the people who are in the business, who are looking to step up into maybe a leadership role, or maybe just, get out there and build their confidence. And you're going to meet people and you're going to hear other people's stories that are really going to resonate you. And I feel like that's kind of something that, the reason why a lot of people get started is something resonates with them. They see something that attracts them to someone else. It could be the income they're making, but it could also be the impact that it's had on a person in terms of building their confidence up or facing that fear of public speaking. That's been a huge part of my journey. And when I used to look at Dracy doing what she's doing, I'll be honest, I looked at her and thought, I could probably never do that. But when I really started to, just be open to the business and just be open to what would come my way. And, someone was interested in the business and I said, yeah, I would love to have someone on my team. That's pretty cool. But you really start to see the impact that it makes on yourself, and in turn, the impact that you're going to make on other people. And so when you're attracting like-minded people, those are the people that you bond with. Those are the people that you really build connections with. And having those people are so important, because you need people to lean on during the tough times. You need people to cheer for you during the good times. And sometimes it's hard to do that when it comes to, sometimes people on your team. Sometimes you want people who are even off your team. And that's why at times we want that collaboration amongst, the whole company and other people that you're going to meet, like other leaders. And it doesn't have to be about, being in competition with other leaders or other people in your company doing the same thing as you. Think of how you guys can actually collaborate, and how you guys can, just be there for each other. People are a great source of emotional and moral support. And we all need that in this business. We truly, really do need that. Whether you think you need it or not, down the road, you are going to need it. And like I was saying, the people that you meet, you're going to collaborate with these people. And I always like to believe in collaboration over competition, rather than looking at someone saying like, oh, she's ahead of me here. How can I get ahead of her? Or how can I be number one or whatever? Like, it's good to be, I think, like, I do have a competitive edge in me for sure, but it's not necessarily competitive with other people. It's more so competitive with myself, because I always want to one up what I've already done. But the best way to do that and to beat your own personal records and to be competitive with yourself is actually to collaborate with other people. You look at other people for inspiration. And like I said, you're going to resonate with a lot of people's stories. So when you guys can actually come together and collaborate with someone that is like-minded, that you've attracted, and you guys will attract each other in terms of having a similar goal, that's when that collaboration piece is really going to give you the results that you want, right? Collaborating to maybe do an opportunity call to talk a bit more about why you guys love to do what you do. Maybe share your stories. They might be very similar, but they might also be very different. But when you could do that together, you're going to help broaden each other's network. You're going to be opening new doors for yourself, and you're also going to be creating new opportunities for yourself. You're going to meet their audience. Their audience is going to meet you. And having that network, we always say, or you might have heard before, your network is your net worth, right? This is a relationship building business. And the more that we can network with others, attract people who have the similar goals as us. I always tell my team, I always, tell myself too, we become what we surround ourselves with. So if we surround ourselves with like-minded people with similar goals, people who have that positivity, people who have just that uplifting support, the things that you would want when you get started, right? We all like that, having that, recognition. And sometimes when you feel maybe you're at a point where, you're climbing to the top or you're getting to the top, that stuff kind of will start to fade away a little bit but when you can have that group of people who are cheering for you and vice versa, like you're cheering for other people as well. That's really when the collaboration becomes magical, and when you could really, really create those opportunities for yourself, just in other avenues as well. And knowing that, your energy and your full potential is going to feed off of others, and it's also going to rub off on your team. So what I mean by that is, like the energy that you see, what am I trying to say? Like you attract the type of people that your energy is putting off, right? So other people that you look up to in maybe the same company as you are, maybe it's another leader in another company. You're going to see that energy, and that's going to be attractive to you. That's actually going to rub off on you, and that's going to help you reach for your full potential. Where at the same time, if you're someone that's currently, in leadership, really trying to build a team, that energy that you get from someone else, that's also going to rub off on your team. And it's just going to be like this domino effect, right? And so having those people, when you can create that domino effect, you can create that, I guess, atmosphere of people working towards the same goal. That is when the magic happens, is when you can gather a group of people excited about the same thing, working towards the same thing. And also having friends in business, whether that's your team, other leaders, as I was saying, these are people who can help with feedback. So sometimes you just need that outside perspective from someone who's kind of at the same place as you, some feedback on what you're putting out there. It could be a great way to brainstorm and share your ideas. Again, collaborate, bring them together, and people are going to be a great source of motivation and a great source of inspiration for you. Because at the end of the day, I know what it could feel like to be up there. And, maybe people look at you as if you have it all, or maybe you feel inside like, I do feel accomplished, but at the same time, you could also feel very lonely. And it could also be really hard when you feel like you're running at something alone and you're doing everything yourself. So having that support system from friends that you make in this business is so important. So you guys don't get drowned in like the loneliness and the stress of, being someone trying to be, the best leader that you can to the people below you, or to the people that you haven't yet recruited onto your team that you're speaking to. So at the end of the day, I just think like friends, they make the process more enjoyable, but they also make the process for you more successful. And so I quickly just want to share a personal example of, people that I've gotten to know in my previous company, and people that are my team members that I've met from all across Canada that I would consider some of my closest friends today. I actually had a table at my wedding on my wedding day, and it was all my people from my business, but they were amazing friends of mine that I just felt like I could not have this day without them. Like, they're people who mean so much to me that I've talked to, it seems, on the daily, or at least, a few times a week, to whether that was to brainstorm ideas or whether that was just to talk about personal life and celebrate each other. Like, we're all there for each other for other reasons that go beyond the business, right? So sometimes you don't realize, but some of your best friends come from like an opportunity like this. And you may not have even recruited someone who is going to be your best friend down the road. Like, you don't know. And it's really amazing that you could meet and create such incredible friendships through this. So I've definitely had that with multiple people on my team, but also at that table at my wedding were people who didn't come from my team, but came from this company that were other leaders that I would collaborate with on the daily. And in fact, these people that were at my wedding at that table, who weren't even on my team, we actually took a trip to, we went to Canmore for a few days. It was like a long weekend. We went there. It was not even we called it a business trip, for write-off purposes, but it was not a business trip. Like, we went hiking. What else did we do? We just walked kind of the, I don't want to call it the strip. That sounds like Vegas, but there's just all these little shops. Like, we just enjoyed ourselves. We rented an Airbnb, and it was just a way to bond with each other. Of course, like, business came up, but it really wasn't the purpose of the trip. Like, we honestly just found each other through this business. We lean on each other for support. We encourage each other. We cheer each other on no matter what. And look, and even now, like, some of us are not even, in the company anymore. Some of us are doing other things on the side. And it's like, I'm still going to cheer for you, whatever you're doing, because I've created that connection with you and that friendship with you that, like, it goes beyond this business, like I said. So I just think it's amazing. Like, some of the people that you meet through this, the people that you're going to meet through this, like, it's crazy to me. Some of the closest people I've ever met. And now it's like, right now I'm in the process of launching a new business too. And I think of, wow, I can't believe there's probably going to be hundreds more people that I'm going to meet that are going to become super close friends. Like, I've already made. I can't even imagine, like, doubling or tripling or quadrupling what I already have in my network. But it truly is so important to just, fiercely protect that, because you don't want to let that go. And like I said, you will need it. If you don't feel like you do now, you will need it. So that's my take on, having friends in the business. So.
Well, Teisha, I look at our friendship, how it's evolved and what it's been created. And it comes down to fun. Like you said, the magic word, creating magic moments, when you can do that. And so I wrote this down, bonding babes in business. And that's what you do. You bond with these people and you create these magic moments. But that's what we talk about, why it matters so much, is because it makes the process so much more fun. And the magic word you did use was open. When you're open to receiving and when you're open to meeting new people, that's when that process happens, and it just makes things that much more enjoyable. And in adding to friendships, like, to this day, besides my oldest friends, like being your mom, Chantel, and Debbie, she's out there and she's a big fan of what we do. These are some of my oldest, dearest friends that I'm still good friends with today. But the friends in my life, in my daily process, two of my closest friends come from my business. They worked with me, and one of them, her and I, we've traveled the world together. We've gone to Italy, we've gone to Fiji, we've gone to Tahiti together, Singapore, and you get so excited to do these trips together. But also we've also overcome some of our darkest and most challenging times in our lives together and helped get through it. And again, that's a friendship that came through this industry and this business, and still to this day, we still connect and collaborate on future endeavors, which is so fantastic. But moving on to the family and family, nothing else matters. I actually, believe it or not, I sing a Metallica song in my head, and it's called Nothing Else Matters. And when I'm having a quiet magic moment with one of my family members or one of my babies, grandbabies, that song plays in my head, and to really enjoy those moments. And I think that we do this business so we can have more time with our families, so we can have more money. And we do it because we want more flexibility and we want more opportunities so we can do these magic things with our family and create these moments. And that is family vacations, or that is going out for a family dinner, or going to Disneyland, or, doing something magical like that. But we couldn't do it without this business of its flexibility and its extra income. And 9 out of 10 people are doing this business part-time as the side hustle. And so I'm a big, huge advocate. I've raised my 4 children. My daughter was 2 years old when I started. Actually, she was 6 months old when I started, actually. Oh my God. Emily was 6 months old when I started, and she just celebrated her 31st birthday. And she's now a mom of her own baby. And, like, when she started, like, these are the things that I did. I did my dream chart back then, and I put Disneyland on there. And I was able to take her at 5 years old to go to Disneyland. And I even have a picture of her sitting in the little teacup, like we had our first trip together, our first holiday. But part of that process was getting my children involved in what I do. And so, and same with your partner, having your date night is so important to do these things when it comes to. So there was 3 things. One is I would do the vision board. I get them in part of that process of collaborating and adding to it, so they knew what we were working towards. And it's good skill sets to teach your kids. The other one was part of the scheduling process. Give my partner my husband, give him the highlighter and go and block date night in there with the kids. When I, like, that was always first of when I did my scheduling to do that. But also here, especially Australia, every 10 weeks, our kids get 2 weeks off of school. So it's broken out into 4 parts throughout the year. So I would always take the kids away for a week through school holidays, but they knew that's what we were doing. So what I did is I got them involved as they got older, involved in the activities or those daily activities of whatever it is that I had to do back. Well, back then I did parties. So, and the girls would fight that every weekend. One of them would come with me to my party. So I always had my little side hustle coming with me. And they took turns in that. But again, they were part of that process. And especially even for when we talked about finances, tax purposes, you can include your kids in tax purposes and get really great tax benefits for including your children. But I think the whole purpose of it is getting your kids involved, getting them part of the scheduling, getting them in the part of creating the dream chart or vision board, and just having it part of that process. And communicating that, like, even when the kids were little, some of you may be listening and you have younger little kids. I had a special toy box that they only got to play with when mom was on the phone. It was those special toys. So they were a lot more quieter when that process, when we were part of that. But again, it was me talking about the business, being able to be at my kids' events, their sports and things like that. That was really important to me as well. And so again, it's a part of your values, it's part of your belief, and about you making magic moments with your family, because again, nothing else matters in that process. So I guess with that, making that important, again, schedule, make it happen. If you have children, so Casey's birthday's on the 20th of the month, Emily's the 15th. So I made it that on the 20th of every month, that was Casey's day. She just loved it, that day was dedicated to her. So every month I had one day dedicated to each one of my kids, and then obviously every part of the day, there was always a moment, family getting together for dinner, things like that. But you have to still intentionally do it, because this business can beat you up. It can consume you, it can overwhelm you, and it could also not be so positive if you don't learn to control it. So I guess when it comes down to it, because family matters most, take care of your scheduling and work together on the dreams and make it happen together collectively, collaboratively, and most importantly, to be able to communicate what your goals are. So yeah, that would be my fun in it. And now it's all about the babies, the grandbabies, and how I can navigate each week them into my schedule and being able to see them. Of course, I see the big kid in that process, but again, it's these are the things that matter most and why I do what I do. And now it's my biggest vision and mission is to communicate that this industry is a profession. It can be a career, and it has done so many great things for me and for so many other people. And now seeing young Teisha, driving and riding up the ladder of this industry and being able to show and that you can do this business full time. It's not just a side hustle anymore. It's a full-time gig, and the opportunities are there to create magic. So, and again, to fiercely protect the things that matter. And so in closing, the family, the friendships, the finances, the fitness, the faith, and our future. Yes, there we go. I did it all.
You're so good. You're so good at remembering all those. Like if you were to put me on the spot and be like, what are the F's again?
Well, you know what it is? And that's interesting you say this. And let's take this as a lesson. People would always say, Dracy, it just flows off your tongue so much. It's because I've written it down so many times. I have written that down, more than my fingers. And so it becomes a memory. And say, and that's on everything that I do. Back in the day when it was planting seeds for our business, doing our presentation and planting the seeds, overcoming objections, I used to memorize overcoming those objections so they would naturally flow out of my mouth. And I still do that today. That's part of our book. That's why we've been able to write a book together. And we do this podcast. We got our content for our social media, and it all comes from just repetition over and over. My favorite one, though, is PINK. The acronym we did for PINK. Do you remember what it is?
No, I can't. You can't tell me the first word, then I will.
Promise.
We promise to increase new business that is kick-ass.
Yes.
I just needed the first one, and then I was good to go. But yeah, it's a good one. And family and friends, like they could be your most enthusiastic cheerleaders. They could be your biggest supporters. It's so important to just protect that. And, like Dracy said, you're going to need it. And imagine what my parents said and I probably said this on a previous podcast, but I was able to bring them on an incentive trip, and same with Ryan. The first one I brought Ryan on was the first one I earned, and he was amazed. And after that, he was like, yes, we're supporting this. We love this. Like he was my number one cheerleader, right? You bring him on a trip like that you've earned. And then afterwards I brought my dad on one, I brought my mom on one. And it was just it was nice to give back to the people who are, supporting me already. People who maybe were a little skeptical at first, but still believed in me. And now seeing, what I've been able to accomplish with this. And it was just so nice to actually bring them on a trip like that for them to actually just see what it is that I really work for and what I love about this. So
and just to add to this, because I'm just getting so much smiles at my cheeks thinking about the family and the things that we've done. Yeah. But it is, and family can also be skeptical, and we just need to be aware that they're not necessarily being negative, they're just being protective of us. And that's why it's also really important when you're having a bad day or a down day. As much as we want to go and unload on family members, we have to be very careful of that process too, because you may have unloaded and then you feel better, and then something amazing's happening with work and you've gotten over it, but they haven't. And so you just got to be very aware of that. But yes, you want to get your parents or your family, your big supporters involved. Because that's where the magic happens, getting them involved as much as you can and rewarding them. And so these trips are really great reward. But I have to share one story. My grandmother was clearly a huge supporter, and she clearly had a party and bought whatever she could. You want to be successful. So when the people who did support you in the business, that you can give it to them all for free when you get successful. You don't need their business anymore. You just want to reward them for being a supportive. But my grandma was his biggest fan. But you got to think, I was 25 years old, earning a 6-figure income. I drove a fancy car. I dressed up at night and I went out at night. So I actually had a lot of family members that did not believe I could be making that much money selling candles. That one of my uncles even said that I was a high-priced prostitute. So could you imagine that? Like, thank God I knew who I am and I didn't take it personally. But here was the magic moment my grandma had. I got to be on the cover of our magazine as the newest senior regional vice president. And my grandmother had a copy. And I remember she threw it to this uncle and said, not too bad for a high-priced prostitute, eh? So remember, the best revenge is success in those that didn't believe in that. So, but anyway, I got a good story to tell today. And funny enough, I just finished telling that story to my in-laws this week. We were just talking about some of these things. because I knew we were going to be talking about this topic today, about family and what matters most. So it's been a great topic. I really enjoyed it.
That's great. And it's good that you took it well the first time, because you knew down the road, you're like, I'm gonna show him, what I do. And it's gonna be a good story down the road. And it is. So.
Do you want to hear another layer to that? That uncle's nickname was Sparrow. And the irony is my partner Brendan's nickname is Sparrow.
Oh, really? Interesting. Wow.
Whatever. But anyway, it's a good laugh and it's a good story to tell for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this was a fun episode, Dracy. Love doing it with you. I'm happy to wrap up our little mini series of the things that we are fiercely protecting in this business with family and friends. I think it was a great ending to this mini series. So, I just want to share before, we let you guys go, and, we'll be back, of course, next week for another episode. But just want to share, we wrapped up another social media MVP course just this past week. So, we're looking forward to seeing all the changes and implementation that people take from that course and put onto their social medias. And we did tell you guys in the last episode that we are going to be opening up a wait list for our next program wave in March. So make sure you guys click the link in our description to get on our wait list, and you will be one of the first to get the email to actually enroll in our social media MVP program that we're going to be running again in March. So make sure you guys go check that out. And last but not least, if you haven't already, please give this video a like, comment below with your biggest takeaway, hit the subscribe button, share with your teams. And if you guys are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you guys leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it. It helps us grow. And we just really appreciate you guys as our audience coming back each and every week to listen in. So we'll see you next week for episode 38. Bye, guys.
See you later.